kind of like, which is different between here and Atlanta. Atlanta is more of a syndicate based thing, where Houston is more of a get it out the mud. You know, you trapping, we gonna put this money behind you, and you gonna make this bread for us. It's more of an independent style here in Houston.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. And just to piggyback off what you said, like I think to answer your question, D, I think what it was the timing of it. Right. I think you had the push of the Ghetto Boys, and then there was a lull as the Ghetto Boys kind of were cooling off a little bit, and then UGK was bubbling, and like you said, you had Swisher House, and then that which would come later, and you had Suave House, which would come a little bit later after that. I think there was just a little lull, and to his point, they were really, really concerned about dominating Houston and Texas overall because, having, like I said, I lived there for a year. And like the thing that I realize is being there is that it's very divided, just like any other city, but it's very divided as far as like maybe the North don't really fuck with the South, and the South don't fuck with the North like that. And I found that out really quick. And so,
oh yeah.
I found that out like the first week I was there. I was like, oh, okay, it's like that. Like, but the thing is too, like when it comes to hip hop, during that particular time, it was really about being regional. You just cared about your region. But where it shifted for Atlanta was when Cass started to take off, because like the you can look at even at the dichotomy between Outkast and Goody Mob, same crew, same production, but you saw one take off. And one take off, but not as high. And Goody Mob Goody Mob has been, they put out great music, but they'll never be what their big brothers are in Outkast. And so, but what you saw was in that particular time in the city, we started having Outkast over here. Then you had, Chris, Ludacris came down and he was here. Then you had T.I. Then you had the next wave. And so like when that 2003, 2000 to 2005 wave from Houston came, Atlanta had already had a couple of steps on them.
Oh yeah, they'd already was concerned.
So by that time, that was the Jeezy. That was Gucci Mane, T.I. All of those got that wave, and then the next wave was the Futures and whoever else that ever came out of Atlanta that was rapping.
Yeah, with the Migos. It'd be the Migos. Yeah,
Migos. Like, and I mean, like, so that was that next wave, that wave of Migos and Future and those guys that propelled Atlanta even because now you're talking about culture. You ain't even talking about music no more. Right. And so it was, I don't even think that it was Houston's fault or they did anything wrong because they had dope music coming out of it. I mean, like it was crazy. But it's you have to have a situation where you allow yourself to grow. And I think Houston they grew, but they didn't grow at the volume that they needed to.
I mean, I think just to coincide with what you're saying, it's kind of like, I mean, Houston, we still have Travis Scott, and Travis Scott, I don't know if we consider Travis Scott hip hop or whatnot, but like Travis Scott is probably the richest rapper out of probably making the most money out of Houston like now, period. He got festival. He makes music that's totally coinciding with just a mixed culture on a nationwide base, and that's just one person. Whereas Atlanta has plenty. But I think if Houston had the same kind of mindset that Atlanta had, it probably would have been just as big, for sure. I just think that Houston was, like I said, they just wanted to take over Texas.
It's interesting with it because in this scenario, if Houston got that push and became the talisman for the South, what do you think? Do you think how would hip hop kind of been recreated for Southern rap? You think, or I would say, or was it impossible though?
I would say this: Houston
have done it because New Orleans is sitting right there.
No, Houston. I would say this: Houston, to me, is the freestyle capital of the South. Period.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying? If you talk like Kyle, you tell me if I'm lying about this. Houston is the freestyle capital of the South. Like,
yes.
the screw tapes.
Yeah.
All the screw tapes are freestyles.
Mm-hmm.
All the classic artists that are local artists, their songs and their albums are
Oh,
freestyles.
before you even go further, Cornelius, you also went to school at Southern, so
Yeah,
you've been
yeah. So I got that.
you just them new to Houston. You have been
Oh,
engulfed
bro,
in
listen. Yeah,
You
so
see, you seen and heard it all.
yeah, so
Yeah.
my family lives in New Orleans. So like I
Okay.
grew up in like the early Cash Money, Big Boy Records, when P first came back to New Orleans or whatever. So I got both Houston, New
Mm-hmm.
Orleans.
But
I
also,
got the
New Orleans does Houston get hurt because of a P being in New Orleans, because of Cash Money being right there?
Nah, I mean,
and it's so those cities are only, it's like,
Not really, because I think at that time everybody was kind of fighting for position. They were fighting together to some degree,
Right.
but they were fighting for position. So I mean, even like when you think about Cash Money and No Limit, they were fighting in their city for respectability as far as hip hop was concerned. So P was there, and P had the tank rolling, and all of a sudden Manny Fresh comes through, and he has a different sound than Beats by the Pound. So
Exactly.
so now there's a competition, and then you got Atlanta, and then what we started to see was when we saw collaborations like Cast and UGK was when the South really got together. That's when it was a problem for everybody, because now, okay, David Banner's coming from Mississippi,
exactly.
and then we got this guy, we got T.I. over here, and these guys are collaborating, and now it's like it's a huge movement, and so now you can't get New York, you can't get Brooklyn and Queens on a record together.
I mean, I think like that. That's what one thing that made. I always call the South like South hip hop like gumbo.
Yes,
Every
right.
state is different.
Mm-hmm.
Texas has its style. Louisiana has its. Alabama, Mississippi have theirs. Georgia has theirs, and Florida.
Dallas and Houston have different styles within
Oh,
Texas.
for sure, totally different styles. I mean, but again, I think to Houston's detriment, like Swisher House, I think was the only one outside of Rap a Lot, and so I think Suave got to deal with Jive.
Mm-hmm.
They got to deal with Jive.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Swisher House got to deal with, was that Universal or was that Priority?
Priority.
You know what I'm saying? Like a lot like SUC, which is basically the catalyst for all like modern Houston hip hop. Screw wasn't worried about none of that. Screw was selling mixtape, like he was selling dope out the house. Yep. He wasn't even thinking about like distribution. He was selling tapes like people, like a dude selling drugs, right. Which he could have went to a record label like, hey man, I'm selling 100,000 tapes a month.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And if he would have, I think a lot of Houston's lost hip hop era is because what Screw didn't do. But Screw was like, hey man, I can do it myself. I don't need to go major. Why am I gonna pay somebody for a deal I'm already getting myself? Mm-hmm. Like he literally selling 100,000 tapes out the house a month with his homeboys doing freestyles. Yeah. This ain't even full production.
This isn't. It's not mastered and mixed or nothing. Yeah,
this is me, you, Kyle,
with a condenser mic.
Yeah, Doja, Sleepy, and you just putting on some songs. But hey, man, go on the mic and just rap.
Yeah, just rap. That's it. Just rap.
Whatever you want to rap about.
That music sounds even more enhanced when if you sipping lean or you high, I mean, the market was right there. And I mean, like you said, I mean, they just sold it.
It made me think, Kyle, and this question, you've been in Atlanta, was it the ability that Atlanta's record labels and their scene had more professionalism in it with LaFace and So Def? With Jermaine Dupri already having a background with his father being a concert promoter, and then you have LaFace, which is basically effectively a New York label coming to be in Atlanta. Was it, and I didn't even think about this, was it the professionalism of like, we know how to run a label and do this?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it was. Well, you know what? Yes and no, because, and the reason why I say yes and no is because like in the beginning, like I moved here in 97, right out of college. And so the thing that was interesting was that the music was so, it was the sound and the feel was bubbling, but you had to know somebody to get into Big Oomp's camp, or you had to know somebody to get into Organized Noise camp, or you had to know somebody to get in So Def's camp. You couldn't just say, hey, I'm 12 Kyle, the rapper, let me get on. It wasn't happening like that. So even as the city was pushing forward, there was still some segregation as far as like we ain't letting everybody in. So to your point, there was a level of professionalism, but at the same time, everybody couldn't go rap in the dungeon. We heard about it, but your best bet was to try to catch people like Cornelius mentioned earlier, catch them outside, because much like Houston, Atlanta is very accessible to its stars. And so, you might, like, I remember the first time I saw T.I. rapping. T.I. was at this little I can't even call it a hole in the wall, but he literally was outside of the club rapping, freestyling. And I mean, like, he had a New York cipher around him. And
was this around I'm Serious time?
This was before that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, people just knew him as Tip. And so I and the whole hustling and dope boy thing, I had no idea. I just knew he was a little dude that could rap. So, so to answer your question, yeah, there was a level of professionalism, I think, that helped, and that helped going forward. But initially, Atlanta kind of had some of the same things or some of the same issues that Houston did. The only difference was that, like you said earlier, there was some New York influence as far as that was concerned, but also, what we saw happen at the Source with them getting booed. I don't think Atlanta was trying to prove itself, or artists were trying to prove themselves. We just wanted to be heard. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Drake said it best.
Yeah, and there was a huge resentment there. And you go back and watch that Source episode. I mean, like, there was just a huge resentment, and they never stopped to listen to the music, because if you listen to the music, you knew it was dope. But at the same time, like, I get it too to some degree, because at that point New York was kind of hanging on by the slimmest of threads, because the West, LA was killing them. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. By that time, they were killing them. So we talking mid, and keep in mind, and I tell people this all the time, and people forget this. Like, UGK came out before Outkast. So, and I think they were on their second album by the time Cass dropped their first album, if I'm not mistaken.
Because it goes
Riding Dirty. Then Riding Dirty
was 96.
Then Riding Dirty 96. And Too Hard to Swallow was like 92, okay, maybe like 92, and maybe 92.
Okay. Yeah,
because I remember because Pimp was
92. Too Hard to Swallow is 92. Super Tight is 92.
Super tight.
So see, they're already on their second album when Cass comes out in 94. Go ahead, what were you saying?
And Pimp was on the Dangerous Mind soundtrack.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And like,
Pocket Full of Stones is in Minister Society.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I just like being in St. Louis. Like, I remember growing up, listening to the radio. Like,
I mean, this Cornelius, front, back, and front, side to side was a St. Louis legendary song.
It was anthem. Right. Everybody's playing UGK.
I didn't even know who UGK was. I just knew that song was at every party, played it.
I remember when UGK came to the Palace.
Yep.
They came to the Palace. Like, I mean, St. Louis, I would say the influence on this. St. Louis influence on hip hop growing up was definitely Atlanta with crunk music. Mm-hmm. Memphis for sure. Mm-hmm. Heavy Memphis sound.
Yes.
Very, very heavy Memphis sound. And it was UGK.
And Bone, too.
And Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Bone Thugs
and Harmony. Like, I mean, people like my cousins that were older listening to Ghetto Boys, but like nobody my age was going around bumping Ghetto Boys. But UGK, oh my God, when that Riding Dirty came out, it was a rap. Man, listen. It was over. It was over. But to get back to your question in regards to about Houston. I think that, again, like Kyle said, like, I don't think the goal was never to go nationwide. Mm-hmm. It was to conquer Texas. Yeah. They always wanted to be the best in Texas, where the Atlanta mindset, which I think is very, very true, because of the people who were running LaFace and So Def. They already had that influence, like, hey, we trying to put a sound out for the world to hear. Mm-hmm. They weren't worried about the world. Screw wasn't worried about the world. When Screw said he trying to make the world hear Screw, he talking about Texas. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, people always forget that Jermaine Dupri had that cheat code, man.
Oh, absolutely.
His daddy was doing. He was the head promoter for the Fresh Fest, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So he already knew, like, because that's why people don't understand. He was managing what was it, Silk Times and Leather at like 19, and then when he found Criss Cross. It was like that's all he knows. I don't think he graduated high school.
No, I found that out when I watched the Kingdom building podcast. Video with he was on the Kirk Franklin thing. No, he didn't graduate high school.
Okay.
He didn't have to.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? He was already tapped in.
Yeah, already had money too.
He already had money. You know, like he don't have no. He has a more struggle coming through the industry than going through life.
Yeah,
because he just had to, he had to, make his bones. Once his dad saw that he was serious about it, he put that money behind him, and
because he's in the freaks come out at night video of people going to go back.
He definitely is.
He is. I mean, it's correct. I mean, and people, if the freaks coming out at night song is not it's not what you think. Younger people. It was a concert
go watch the video.
Yeah,
go watch the video.
They had some backstage stuff. And not backstage like that, not backstage like Bill DeVoe said, backstage underage, not that.
Just let them watch
backstage. They were showing them pop locking and stuff backstage.
Yeah. it's kind of like watching Ice-T on Breakers. You know what I'm saying? On Beach Street. On Beach Street. It's like watching him on Beach Street.
Exactly.
If you see Ice-T on Beach Street, you be like, this is not the same.
This is not,
this is not LA Law.
This ain't even cop killer.
This ain't Law and Order. That's the same dude. Yes,
this ain't Colors.
Different iterations of that man. At some point, we're going to have to tackle Ice-T because he's got like 5 lives.
He has a lot of lives. Blood, Crip.
Right.
Ice-T got to be like 63, 64 years old.
He's got to be 63, 64 years old. He's got like a 40-year-old son, I believe.
He got to be like 87.
So if in Atlanta hip hop, do you because you moved there, you said 93, right?
97.
97.
Oh, 97.
So
I'm still in school.
Yeah, you still in school in 93. So in 96, because you moved there strictly off of Freaknik.
Straight because of Freaknik. I thought it was. I fell in love. I fell in love with the city. I was like, this is where I want to be. I was like, black people got money. The government, the local government was run by black people. Yeah, I came.
The Olympics had just happened.
Yeah, Olympics had just happened. So I was, and I did not. You could not have told me that I would still be here. Some 28, 29 years later. So I mean, this is home, and it's always felt like home.
And so when you were there, were you like, man, Atlanta's finna get a run rap? Did you get that feeling, or when did you start like, you were around there? So before we knew as the rest of the world, Atlanta's run this. Did you see it like ahead, like, hey, Atlanta's finna run this rap shit in a second?
No, I didn't feel it like that because like you just didn't know. But the thing that I did feel was that there was a vibe here. And I because I was coming from South Carolina, obviously there was no vibe in South Carolina, but I was young, fresh out of college, had a couple of dollars in my pocket, didn't have a wife, no kids, and so Freaknik was a representation of what you could do. You could come here, you could get money, you could have a good time, and the hip hop scene was bubbling. Like I said, I didn't have kids, so I would go. Me and my roommate, we would go to hip hop clubs at least 2 or 3 times a week. And so like the music scene was just different. It was nothing like any other thing I'd ever seen before. And so, no, you couldn't have told me that, Atlanta would run hip hop. But the thing about it that I loved about it was that it was strictly Southern music, because I always talk about
country rap tunes.
Yeah, country rap tunes. I always talk about like one of the reasons why I love Outkast as much as I do is because for the first time there was somebody that looked like me. Right. Somebody sounded like me, somebody talked like me, somebody dressed like me. And you didn't have to put on Timbs and a bubble coat to be accepted. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, and so it made you feel proud to hear them and see them. And so that's what it was in the city. It was the same feeling and same vibe. And then as the years progressed, even moving into like the 2000s, we just started seeing more and more things happening in the city. And it was like a tidal wave, to be honest. Now, did I think that it could have happened like that? No, you wouldn't have told me in a million years. But I do know that there was a level of uncertainty, but there was a level of pride and a level of love that was here. And then you saw it manifest in the other MCs when they came up. Because when you started tapping into other cities, Cornelius mentioned Memphis. When you started seeing 8Ball and MJG coming here making music with these guys, and you started seeing David Banner coming from Mississippi making music, and everybody was coming here and it wasn't no beef. There was a little beef between T.I. and Lil Flip, I think, but that was about it. So it wasn't like something where you know, and this is where I always say this is where New York slipped up at. New York never had that kind of camaraderie.
They had no unity. Never was some
none
unity
whatsoever.
in New York.
None whatsoever. You would never go on a Locks video set or video shoot and see like 5 other people from different crews or different boroughs or whatever like that. In Atlanta, if T.I. was shooting a video, Goody Mob was showing up. If Goody Mob was shooting a video, Outkast was showing up. I mean, like, I literally went to the Skewed on the Barbie video because Outkast said, hey, they were on the radio. They said, hey, we're shooting a video today at the House of Blues. Be there at 6:00. And the whole city showed up. I mean, that didn't happen. You couldn't do that in New York. And so
Same
like,
here.
yeah, exactly.
Same.
So, you know, I think over a period of time, it was just seeing that. And I think that's how Atlanta kind of took off. But, you know, being able to grow and then have your artists grow as well, it was beautiful to see. But I would not have ever guessed it. No, not in a million years.
And that's one thing I have to say about Houston. I was talking this earlier to my my play brother. Like, one thing I love about Houston is that the radio station here, you hearing 90% local.
That's good.
Like when I say you gonna hear your Drakes, you gonna hear the stuff you hear on the radio, but it's gonna be local artists. And every summer they gonna come together to make some type of summer DJ Khaled style anthem. The song about 10 minutes long. It's gonna be every artist.
The I Only Listen to 90s Music podcast is a show for 80s babies who were 90s kids. If you were a No Limit soldier, then this is your show. If you believe that Cash Money is not an army but was a Navy, this is the show for you. If you and your friends ever tried to sing a song written by Escape, In Vogue, Shy, or Boyz II Men at a talent show during middle school, this is your show. The I Only Listen to 90s Music podcast is a bunch of 80s babies talking about all the songs and things that we loved when we were kids and teenagers. So if you went to the skating rink and you were at a lock-in, this is the show for you. If you think that Tevin Campbell was the original Prince of R&B, this is the show for you. If you don't understand the conflict between Monica and Brandy, but you're kind of on Monica's side and understand why Brandy got punched, this is the show for you. Make sure that you tune in, subscribe, click the little subscribe link. We're here. We're going to talk about all things 90s music. This is the show for you.